have FOMC meeting minutes at 2, but really hoping that that doesn't cause us to chop today. Had a pretty good overnight session. Alrighty, let's take a look here. Still a pretty green week, all things considered. We're not red for another 100 points. Month is going to be green for a long time. I remember that. Day is very red. Failed 2 up on the green, or on the day. So started green and currently red. Gold still working. Oil looks like a short to me. ES and Q still chopping. Sorry guys, 1 second. Had an issue with my Top Step account. Trying to get it figured out with them real quick. Alright. Looks like I didn't miss anything anyway. Okay. Let's take a look here. Nothing should be making us bounce yet. Next bounce would be right under 15,950. I think that's probably where we're going to go. Easy said that we have new home sales at 10 o'clock. Maybe you said existing home sales. I can't remember. Existing, gotcha. Sweet nectar. Sitting at that 16,000. What's gold doing? Still flying. It is indeed. Alright, I'm looking to probably get in short here. Seeing as ES is under that low of day. Alright, getting caught up. Jamar, you the goat man. Thank you, man. Good morning, Moon. Past Top Step because of you. Well, I hope it was also because of you. Because I will not be trading your PA or your XFA. But congratulations. Esther, I'm just looking at NQ. Per the usual. Not a lot of great movement right now, though, to be honest. So, could be looking gold long, but TBD. RTY looks like a better short than the rest of them. Ooh, the Steelers fired Matt Canada. Didn't they win on Sunday? It's funny. All right, looking short here. I have a starter in at 88.25, but not even close to a real play. So, very, very, very light. Just in case this does flush, and then I'll get an average. Minute left on this 5-minute candle. Still 10 minutes left on this 15. Gold bouncing. Might just cut these. This small position, we'll see. Inside bar so far. Still under 16,000. Filled the rest of this fair value gap. I'm actually going to add here in this fair value gap. Looks like my average is at 90, still not a full position. Or 91. I'm trading on my forex side right now, so I'm trying to keep it close. Close to what price is. Alrighty. 2 minutes left on this 5-minute inside. Alright, cutting out the short partials. Didn't close inside, so no longer valid for me. Probably should have just hit a long on gold. Bounced right off that golden zone. Is this the move? Still a lower high there. On the 1 minute. Oh, excuse me. Forgot to turn on that news thing there. Yeah, I'm still in overnights. Disney's down bad. Baba's still getting up. Sorry, just getting caught up. Is it a concern that US 5 minutes 2 up after filled 2 down? Probably would have been, but I think we're probably waiting for the news to come out. I'm actually gonna close Baba now. Ten seconds. Not really moving yet. Existing is 3.79 million. Forecast was 3.9 million. So lower than expected. Is Dixie responding? Dixie's going down. Taking a starter here, 82.50. Would be probably looking here for 50 points. Doing a hard stop at 20 though. ES didn't quite break the lows, so short-term SMT divergence here. watching NQ here and ES at the same time. I don't want to see gold flip either. Gold flipping would probably push up NQ and ES. Warren Jesse, did you take the 212 on the 15? No, that wasn't the reason here. It was a 1 minute break of structure. There's no... Oh, I'm on the hourly here. I guess there was a 212 down on the 15, but that was not the reason for entry. But good catch. Audio's low. Let me move my mic closer then. Sorry. My apologies. Yeah, I really don't want to see ES go much higher. ES is under that 15-minute fair value gap, and Q is not. And Q is smack in the middle of it. So, trying to do better at letting this either hit stop loss or TP. I've been cutting out a little too early. And sometimes it saves me, but sometimes I miss out on a lot of profit because of it. Failed 2 up on the 5. So definitely not going to let that go past that. Not going to let that go 2 up and keep it. RTY pumping. Yeah, RTY kind of holding its own, doing its own thing right now. Dixie's pumping, which means that NQ should start to see some downside. But I don't like to see gold going up, or sorry, gold going down at the same time. So we'll have a game time decision here. All right, cut and bait at 15 points. Lots of reasons to get out of there. Failed 2 down on the 15, or sorry, on the 5. That was a liquidity sweep. RTY is starting to move up. Dixie's going up, but not pushing NQ down. And gold's starting to go down. All reasons to not be in that short. So, sitting in a little bit of red today. That's all right. My goal coming into today and really tomorrow is just to not get chopped up. I don't foresee us making a brand new high or low before yeah, I would have hit stop loss in that case. What's today? 21st. Risk to reward this week's good, but that's mostly sponsored by my 100-point profit yesterday. Not sure if I picked the wrong week to start, but my accounts have been red past 2 days. I'm in sim trying to practice, just trying to see if you're seeing that. Well, yeah, with this week being new Thanksgiving week, it's going to be a hard week to capture, but I definitely was not red yesterday. Captured 100 points on the last trade. Leaving the morning, I probably was a little bit, but letting that run. Actually, I probably wasn't. I had 2 losses, 1 break even, 2 wins, one that was 10R, but captured about 5R. And both of my losses were less than 1R, and one of them was a partial less than 1R. So I'd go back and look at what your risk was, and when you took profit on each trade. Because if you caught more than 100 points yesterday, it'd be hard to be red. But in terms of weeks to start, yeah, this week's a bad week to start. Just because of Thanksgiving. It's the same like if you would have started last week at December, which is Christmas. So. Yeah, next week will be better for sure. Hopefully. Oh, really? Oh, wow. I was way down yesterday. Way down, huh? Got out at 40 on that last trade. Yeah, getting out at 40. I'm looking at my recaps. Well, first of all, you shouldn't have identical trades to me. You should have some of your own as well. But my own trades, I had one long at minus 0.86R, one long at minus 0.75R, one long at 1R, and one long at 10R. So I was green yesterday. So yeah, like I said, I would look at maybe you were holding losers too long, or sizing too big into a starter position. Like what was yesterday? Yesterday was Monday. So big. What? Yesterday was Monday. Oh yeah, I guess it was a pretty good day. Failed 2 down on the 15 so far. Still choppy so far. Oil looks like a nice short. Yeah, I need to look at that. Max loss is 20. I did not max loss. Oh, like on a play is 20. I did not size in. I just got in when you did, so might have been slippage. I just take the trades to go back and research where I took them. Yeah, usually, well, especially right now when it's chopping, I'm pyramiding in. So let's say that I want to get in with 5, 5 micros. Let's say 10 micros. Then I'll pyramid in with doing 5 sets of 2 orders, starting with an order of 2. And I won't shy away from spam clicking the sell button if it's going, but starting with a size, 0.25% or what have you, of your total position lets you not be, going all in, pushing all your chips to the center as soon as you enter a play. Sometimes the market is clean enough to where you don't have to do that, but that's something that I do, something I know a lot of other people do. It's really good, especially when you're adding into your winners and you don't add into your losers. So yesterday I had one position where I was only in with a quarter to a half of my normal position, but with my big winner, I eventually was scaled up to 100% of my normal position. So I was not only taking a winner that was, 7 times my loser, but also it was double the size. So if you can get your winners to have more size than your losers and also win more than you lose, it's a pretty good recipe for success. But yeah, going all in right at the start, it just doesn't leave you any opportunity to average down. Now, I don't average down very frequently in futures. So like here, I said it was a half position, right? I started with partials, but I still alerted because people pay to see my trade ideas because I'm, pretty decent at analyzing price. So even though I was in half a position, it's still a good thing to see. And I would honestly just go through my alerts if you, rather than trying to get the fills that I get and follow blindly, I would just look at the channel and timestamp everything and try to see from there. And then you asked 10R what I'm taking home. It was between 5 and 7R probably. But also, I'm not sure if you've been here when we talked about adding in, but there were times to add in there. So typically, if I'm dividing my size by 10, I'm taking about 50% off at 1R and then about 1/4% off at 2R. And then I go 4R, 5R, 7R, 10R with the rest. So if I have 3 left, then I'll trim 1 at 4R, 1 at 5R, and then 1 at 7R. If I have 4 left, and then I'll leave 1 for 10R. And that's just to capture as much as I can of that trade. But adding in is like the last. What have I? It's like in golf, adding in would be the equivalent to learning a flop shot. It's like you need to learn how to chip first and actually use the bounce of the club and all that stuff before you even attempt to try to learn a flop shot, because got to have the foundations first. And that's the same way with adding in. You got to have your system down to a T to be able to see your setup without, almost without even looking at it. So hope that helps. Looking short here now. 2 down on the 15. Ended a doji. It looks nice. It looks appealing, but look at ES. All right, now ES is looking to go short, so probably could be looking to go short on NQ as well. Still going in, probably with half size here. All right, in at 74. Just going wide stop, half size for now. Oops. With how much this is chopping, wouldn't be surprised to see me take a 10-point trim if it gets there. I entered and it reversed, so literally the biggest green candle you could get all morning is as soon as I go short. That's too funny. I thought that ES went outside there. Did not. Gold sitting at VWAP right now. Back at break even on NQ. There we go. There we go. Taking a little here. 10 points. Looks like that should be the break. I like that 5. I like that 15. And I like ES breaking. I'd like to see it break more. I do not want to see a wick here. That is for certain. Target downside would be here, 42. Those would be some wick targets to have. After that, it's that's probably there at 30, maybe a little lower. Right there at 29. And then fair value gap would probably be the next one. All right, 20 points filled. All right, next trim's definitely 40 points. It's going to be hitting 2 TPs before then, but there's 30 points. Does your stop go to break even right when it hit 20? Yeah, most of the time it's a hard break even. Sometimes I'll do a soft break even, meaning it has to close over break even. The tricky part here is that there's a fair value gap right at my break even that I don't necessarily want to get wicked out at. So I might go soft break even and maybe even add back in just because I'm in with partials right now. But we'll see. It's 30 points away, so I hope it doesn't even go back there. But if it does, that would, if I get stopped out, it'd be a re-entry probably. Gold's still going down, huh? Yeah, it is. All right, closing Disney 0.7, 0.07. This week the premiums are kind of messed up this week, so what was the main trigger on this one? It was right here, break a structure. I find myself playing a lot more break a structure rather than strat setups. But I use strat setups definitely as confluence. 15-minute is definitely good. I'm trying to figure out, while I'm new, to limit my trades to 15-minute, maybe less trades, but maybe better results. Yeah, I would not do the 1 minute, 100% would not. But I would do the 5-minute, 15 for sure. There's 40 points. Forgot to take options with this. That's my fault. Is it too late? Probably. Probably is too late. All right, grabbing Qs and Apple puts. Oops, wrong one. Mario, yeah, give me one moment. Yeah, there's not a good opportunity to add on these. Mario said, so on this, can you show a lesson on when to add in? There's not a good way to add in on here. If you do, it would be every 2 down on the 1, which is very, very risky. I would not add in on here just because of where we're at. I'm just holding until 4R, which would put me right at the spot where I could add more in after we break out of this area here. But until we are past this fair value gap, there's not a good way to add in. If there's a 2-1-2 down on the 15 or on the 5, could see that. But with the new 15-minute candle coming in, unless we leave a fair value gap, it's definitely going to have some upward movement here. No problem. Okay, do you wait for a retrace? Yeah, almost always. Just because if you don't wait for a retrace, you're chasing. And you don't really want to chase on ads. Or I don't, at least. SPY would have been a good short there. Should have added that to Q's. Tesla looks short, which means NQ still has some room to go down. This is the hard part for me, is seeing 40 to 50 points for the taking, but letting it stay on is difficult. I agree. That takes a lot of practice, and a lot of trust in your system is the biggest thing. One thing you could do is trail your stop. So a trailing stop here would be like at 42. So worst case scenario, you're walking out with 35 points of profit, because 42 means that it wicked above this fair value gap. That's what, if you're going to keep the whole trade on, that's what a lot of people will do. If you trim, it's not as hard to see 40 points, because your actual profit's not 40 points worth, because you're in partials, right? So I'm in about 0.25%. And I'm looking to add under this 4R, because I think that after it hits 4R, which is right here on the right side, if it breaks through this order block here, I feel like it's probably going to retrace for another 50 points, or not retrace, but go for another 50 points, maybe even 70 points. And then, the downside from here is very, very far down. So if I do a trailing stop, then, I can always get back in. I took 35 points profit. There's, no one's going to cry over 35 points profit taking. And that way, if you're doing a trailing stop, the market's going to stop you out, not your feelings, which is always a good thing in my opinion. At least for me. I like to see gold turning here and going up. Question is, if we make this next step down, how did ES look? Is ES worth taking a SPY short? Not really. I like to see gold and oil starting to make a move up. That'll add some pressure to go down. Starting to get a little bit of a retrace here on the 15. Well, on all time frames, but the 15 starting to pull up. I assumed it would go into this fair value gap a little bit. It might even go into this 1 minute fair value gap before reversing. Here's that 1 minute fair value gap. 5 minute 2. I think a close over this 5 or 1 minute would probably be a full close for me. But look what it's doing right now. Can't tell me fair value gaps don't work. Not after this. You can't look at price, react to fair value gaps, and say they don't work. Hey Jesse, when looking at fair value gap order block, what time frames would you look at for a day trade? It depends. Fair value gaps happen on every single time frame, and I think most time frames are valid. Obviously, the higher the time frame, the higher the better chance that it's going to reject. A 1 minute fair value, like a 15-second fair value gap's probably going to have, if you take a percentage of every fair value gap respected or just traded through, it's going to have a much lower percentage than the 1 minute, and the 1 minute's going to have a lower percentage than the 5, and the et cetera, et cetera. So the higher the time frame, the better the fair value gap for me. I look at the hourly fair value gaps for daily rejection areas, and then I go down from there. And yeah, Jason said, God bless ICT. Indeed. The man, the myth, the legend. Do you use the fair value gap as an entry ever? Like if it touches and reverses and place stop outside of opposing side of fair value gap? Like placing a buy stop above a fair value gap? No, never. Because price will wick above a fair value gap. Remember, wicks do the damage, body tells the story. This body closing way below this fair value gap tells me that it found its liquidity up here. But if the body closes above this fair value gap, it tells me that, it doesn't need this fair value gap. This fair value gap doesn't have any use for it anymore. It's, the liquidity has been drawn. So now it's going to go to the next fair value gap. So no, I wouldn't ever place a stop on the other side of a fair value gap. And I do not usually, like 95% of my trades are not inside of a fair value gap. They're usually after the rejection of one. I don't have the cojones to do that, to place a sell limit or buy limit in a fair value gap. I've just seen, I don't know. That's putting a lot of trust into a fair value gap that, maybe after a break of structure fair value gap, like here, maybe, but I just, I don't have the stones for it, so I cannot. Do you think it's good to place limit orders on fair value gaps or wait for a can? Oh, just answered that. You're probably going to catch up here in just a minute. All right, about 20 minutes left of this high volume session, or the high volume part of this session. Really would like this to break again, but 3 minutes left here on the 5 and the 15. I think if it breaks, it's going to be after the next 15. Euro USD is going down, Dixie's going up. All good things for this short. It's RTY is starting to move up. YM is looking to go short. Closing out of Qs for now. Not NQ, the Qs. Oops. Inching up again here. Not loving that this 15 is going to end failed too. Not loving that at all. Would now be a good place to go short again? I don't know. If your system says to. I'm thinking about getting out of this short. will be determined by what happens at this fair value gap. What would be your signal to take a reversal, like take a long, Nick? I'd probably want to see a 1 minute break of structure. Correct, yeah. I'd want to see a 1 minute break of structure, leave a fair value gap, reject that, and then a second 1 minute break of structure before I think about going long, because this chart doesn't scream long to me at all. You know, looking left, we're still in this fair value gap, so we could be going long. But, yeah, we're bouncing off of, we're bouncing off an order block for sure. There are reasons it's a fair value gap and order block, really. So yes, there are reasons to look long, but for me, it would need probably another hour worth of price action, just based off because I'd really like to see the 5 minute change character as well. So I would just need to see a lot more than what I see right now. Plus, you got to look at tomorrow's the day before a holiday. We're probably going to chop tomorrow, if I had to guess. So it's just a little difficult to want to flip trend. I mean, ES is a little easier to see. This thing chopped all the way until, 25 minutes ago. First hour of open pretty much was in the same range it was in when it opened. Are you going to be live tomorrow? I am. It's the plan. Not Friday, not Thursday. Markets are closed Thursday, but not Friday. I don't trade Fridays anyway, but especially not this Friday. Being day after a holiday, abbreviated day. No bueno. Thinking about closing here. Really thinking about it. I think my last line of defense here is this 1 minute fair value gap at the 50s. 50s always have a little bit of psych level. Or I should say 50s are usually a psych level as well. So if it breaks and holds over this 54 level, then it's probably a goner for me. And in that case, I will probably just exit left stage. Apple's going down. Interesting. 0.95 trim on Apple. Apple's going down, but ES and NQ are going up. Microsoft's starting to go up, though. Everything's just retracing right now. Riley said, it's hard being disciplined when I don't see my setup, especially with these last two trending days, especially here on every analyst enter. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, us being people who, are full-time traders shouldn't really hinder you from not trading. You got to trade your system and use us as confluence. So, if we're all looking long and we're all in, and then you see your setup, that's a good, probably a high probability trade, versus us all going short and you not seeing your setup and then you losing, that would hurt, at least me. And now Apple's starting to reverse up. See what happens here. Wouldn't be opposed to seeing a 15-minute failed 2 up. That would be A-okay with me. ES tapped into that 5-minute break of structure fair value gap. Might be looking to go short on SPY now. Grab some SPY puts there. For strat entries, would you say the higher the time frame, the more valid it is? Didn't quite seem to find much success with day trading system so far, and would love some advice from you. Yeah, for strat entries, definitely the higher the time frame, the higher the probability, I would say. Well, the better the setup, right? So if you take the reason the strat works, at least for me, the reason the strat works is because it's a very logical system, right? So the reason that an inside bar is a momentum bar is because neither side broke either support. So as soon as it does break support, it's going to be a break of structure, right? And a failed 2 down means that the bears had control, and then the bulls stepped in, and the bulls ended up with control. So as soon as it breaks the next break of structure, which would be making it a 2 up, it's going to have a pretty high probability setup. Obviously, with a 1 minute setup, it's probably going to be less probable because you're not really getting as much volume or price action inside of that candle, so you're not really catching the trend as much. It's the reason why a 1 minute setup on any chart is probably going to be a less probable setup than a 5 minute or a 15 minute. So, yeah, the higher the time frame, obviously a monthly candle, you're really going to hold that position for a while. I usually tell people I plan on the trade taking at least 5 candles to hit my TP. Hopefully it takes less, but 5 is kind of my expectation. Anything less is great. Anything more is kind of spooky. So if you're taking a monthly setup, you're going to be holding that for probably 5 months. So got to kind of balance that, but man, I'm not sure if you realize, but it helps when you call out which time frame of the fair value gap and charts you are looking at when stating what you are looking at. It has been immensely helpful naming which chart you are looking at. A lot of looking at there. Yeah, I do my best. Obviously, I'm trying to execute while talking, which is not the easiest, but I do my best. All right, 5 minutes left of this trading session for me. Aria said, appreciate it and all that you do. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Just kind of waiting here. 5 minute ES still rejected that 5 minute fair value gap. Ideally, I'd like to stay in until it, ES goes back into the opening range. If it does, because the higher probability here is that it goes 2-2 reversal in the 15 and reaches for this fair value gap another 10 points down. But we'll see. NQ has a little room to go up higher if it needs to, but because of ES, I'm hoping that it doesn't. I'm hoping it has enough momentum to end a failed 2 and then go 2-2 reversal, or go outside and then have a 2 after that. Either way, but I'm going to start closing up shop. I'll update my stop when I have it. Right now it's a hard break even, but if I can see this retrace, like if we break structure, I'll move my stops to this retrace high, so 15,950. Still in SPY, still in Apple for puts. Looking to hopefully trim SPY puts if it breaks, but gonna start peeling out here pretty soon. Might add a Microsoft put. 365s. Maybe a Meta, maybe AMD as well. We'll see. NVIDIA earnings after hours, so probably not doing overnights unless we have something super clean, but be pretty risky to do anything overnights. Yeah, look at this candle. Not the 1 minute close or 15 minute close I was hoping for, but yeah, not a good look there. See if this is just reaching into that fair value gap. As long as it doesn't close, it's valid. If it closes over, it's not. And Q is a little bit lower. Let's see where it closed. It closed under that fair value gap on the 15 and the 5. Just don't want to see it too up. Alrighty. That's going to be it today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Grab some nuggets of teachings in there as well. And I will see you all here tomorrow. Have a great day, guys.